Hey, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts. You're either catching me on my YouTube channel, True Divine 44, or my Facebook page, True Divine 44. Like, share, subscribes and comments are greatly appreciated on either or both of those platforms, and much love to everybody who does that thus far. So I put out as much free content as I can to support, guide and inspire the collective. I feel it's part of my role, and to show what I do. But I feel out the energies on a daily basis, on a constant basis, but I bring those energies down and translate those via tarot. It gives me an extra layer to the story, some more context to the story to tell. So I bring that to you. It's up to you to be discerning, to only catch what resonates with you here, and not to focus on anything that isn't for you, because it is a general reading. So sometimes it's going to hit with people, sometimes it's going to not. It depends on what I'm picking up. It depends on who I'm supposed to speak to that day. So the first card for the 12th of the 5th is the Fool card. Now, I can't remember if the combination of the cards that I've got for this day, for the 12th of May, I can't remember if this combination came out in a general reading or one of the readings I did privately. But I know that in the last 1 or 2 days, this combination of cards has come out. So I find that very interesting. So the first card being the Fool card. You know, the Fool is no fool. The Fool, it was a general reading. It was. I can't remember when, but it was a general reading. So the Fool card, we spoke about how the Fool gets to a point where he has enough wisdom to carry all of those experiences that he's had in his small bag. He doesn't wear them. He doesn't use them as armor. He doesn't define himself by them. He just knows that they're there, and they give him more tools to live life by, to recognize maybe similar experiences, red flags that he doesn't need to go through again, or whether to really delve into a certain experience because he's got that reminder of what that experience brought to him previously. But the Fool, you know, as he goes off the cliff edge and there's this dangerous alligator, crocodile, I don't know which, in the water, nevertheless dangerous. He's singing and dancing down the hill. The dog here is trying to stop him. He's come to a point in his life where he's let go. He's let go of burdens. He's let go of the limitations. He's let go of the things that hold him back from experiencing this life fully, like deeply. He's let go of fear. And he doesn't even mind if he falls. He allows himself to fall. He allows himself to do that because he realizes that even in the seemingly worst experiences, he's had the most blissful times, or he's met the most fantastic people, or he's fought the biggest fights and won. All of those things he doesn't see as something to fear. He just sees as something to add to the texture, the tapestry of his life. And he is on an endeavour to experience as much as he possibly can, regardless of fear, regardless of danger. The Fool is the one in the tarot deck who has it down to know that he's eternal. He's an eternal, expansive, powerful being that has been wrapped up in this meat suit so that he can fully experience the feel, the touch, the smell, the sound of everything that he goes through. He feels things deeply. So even though on the surface he seems like the character who is just the happy-go-lucky whatever, and he is, but underneath that he's a warrior. Because it's not that he hasn't experienced fear. It's not that he hasn't experienced the torture in his life. It's not that he hasn't experienced those low points, those points where he seemingly failed. And it's not that he's some kind of masochist that he wants to repeat them again. No. It's just he doesn't let them define his next experience. He doesn't let them stop him from experiencing every single thing he can possibly experience in the deepest possible way. Because he recognizes that that's where he finds the beautiful things in himself, in others, in nature. And he can do this because he is free of fear. He can do this because he is not tied down and held and bound by the limitations of outside forces, by the limitations that others might put on him. Because he truly, deeply knows that this is but a time, this is but an experience, but I'm an eternal soul. It's very powerful. So the second card being strength. Now that's what I'm saying. I know this combination came up. I'm not sure about the last card that's coming up. Sorry, I've got ahead. Strength. So the Fool and strength. So we've got this intrepid explorer who seems like he's the happy-go-lucky, very 3D, you know, just smiles all the time, but no, he's the deep warrior without fear. He has this inner strength, this core strength that comes from the balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. It comes from being able to know thyself, in that I have the divine feminine within me, that if I switch onto it, if I plug into it, I will know where to go. I will know, I will be able to foresee, foretell and foreknow. That's being divine. That's what divine is. I will be able to divine what is going to happen. I will be able to divine which corner to take, which person to invest in. And even if I get it wrong, I have enough divine feminine within me that I will nurture myself. I will heal thyself, because I know I'm capable of that. I will grow from it. I will create a new self from the experience, painful or blissful. And then we have this balance of this divine masculine, this beast, this lion, who is ready to protect, ready to act. So why not go into every experience you possibly can? Because you know you've got this inner strength, you know you've got this inner balance. Knowing when to step back and observe in the divine feminine, knowing when to act and pounce with the lion in the divine masculine. It's having this inner core strength. So this tells you today that it's all about where we've been distracted and pulled into just looking through these two eyes, just experiencing through these two eyes. Don't let anything move any further down, in any of the other chakras. Just keep it in the mind. Keep it in the eyes and in the mind. Keep it there, people. We've been swayed and allowed ourselves to be swayed into that so much that we've forgotten that actually everything happens from inside. Everything happens through the experience that is deeply felt. Everything happens through us taking care of our inner grounds, the things that we reflect out, the things that we are experiencing now in our individual lives and on the greater stage, are a flag to tell us that we've been lacking, that we've slipped on the maintenance of our inner ground, on the knowing of where that strength is, where that strength comes from, and how when that strength is nurtured, maintained, recognized, how that is what will suddenly start to reflect on the outside, on the wider stage. So it is the battle cry. It is the time for people to recognize that everything's been upside down, everything has been flipped, the script has been flipped. Flip it back. It's all about the inside. It's all about your individual self, your individual journey, and knowing thyself. O great healer, O great explorer, know who you are, know what you can do, and recognize that you are an eternal being. So the greatest fear of death, yes, it's not the experience most of us would choose. Yes, it's not the experience, but it's there for a reason. It's a transition point into an even more eternal, more expanded being because of the experience that you've had here. So if you can go as far as to let go of even that fear, that's where this freedom comes from. The letting go of the most extreme fears, right down to the tiniest fears. To go forward knowing who you are, to have this fortitude, this inner strength, this calmness, this being, this knowing that ultimately you control your circumstance. And even when that can be so hard to understand if you're in the worst of circumstances, suddenly you'll think back to a time where you've been in bad circumstances and for whatever reason a switch went off, whatever reason something triggered you into getting up and doing something different, and your whole experience changing for that. That tells you that is your proof, not my proof, not anybody else's proof. That is your individual proof. And I guarantee most people who hear this will have had this, where they can look back and say that, yeah, I completely changed my reality through that one thought of getting up and doing and going and just changing it up, doing something different. So the third card, are you coming in, baby? Okay, baby, 1 second. Okay, thank you. Sorry. So the third card being the Fire Queen. So this queen is the divine feminine energy, this sensuality, this openness, this connectedness, this she's magnetic. And today I feel that yes, those connections are being made outside of self. Yes, those fiery, passionate connections are being made outside of self. Real connections. But I feel it's more today about falling in love with yourself. Finding how magnetic you are. Finding that fire within. Finding that passion for who you are, what you've achieved, what you've done, what you're going to do. And allow that divine feminine to consume you, to make you feel good about you, to make you feel like you are more than enough on every single level. To have that connectedness to self first today, and see what happens after that, see what comes in. See what you've opened up your consciousness to. And that's a beautiful, powerful thing. So underpinning this reading, the last card is the Eight of Swords. Now this speaks of feeling powerless, feeling trapped, feeling detached. It's a prison card, but it's all here. It's all the mind, it's the swords, it's air, it's the words that you say to yourself in your mind, those silent words that nobody else hears, those questions, those judgments that you put upon yourself. This is my merry-go-round card. It's a merry-go-round of thoughts that spirals, it gets faster. When I see this card, I often see, a traditional merry-go-round, and where the lever is, to start and stop it and do the speed, it's gone. It's on the go. It's getting faster and faster. And so you get stuck in this merry-go-round of thoughts. The more time you stay in the energy of this card, the worse it gets. Then it gets to be the catch-22 card. for me of where you're on this merry-go-round. It's steaming, there's smoke blowing, and it's going faster and faster. Everything in you wants to jump off. Everything in your physical body wants to save yourself and jump off. Just clear it. And your mind starts thinking, well, hold on a minute. How do I get the trajectory right? How do I stand up without falling down on this damn merry-go-round? How do I get up on this horse and push myself far enough out of the path of this merry-go-round? I know it's a very expansive vision. It's what my mind does. So then it's the catch-22 of, when do I jump off? When do I jump off? When do I jump off? Which puts you in more danger. It makes the rest of the world outside of self more complicated. It makes it, because you're attracting that in. Too much mind, too much thought. You know, if you had just been calm and jumped off straight away, that you would have jumped off at a slower speed, you would have gotten less damage. So the more that you have been living in a imprisoned life, the more you've been living a false reality that didn't represent self, or that doesn't represent self, that doesn't represent what you're passionate about, what you want to attract in, what you want to be like the magnet to, the harder this is going to feel. You know, because the merry-go-round's gotten faster and faster. The outside world has reflected you less and less and less. The things that you've been living with, doing, the people you've been with, you know, it's reflected you less and less and less. So that moment, that catch-22 moment of when you jump off this thought merry-go-round, it's tougher. It's harder to process. There's much more things. There's many more swords, labels, limitations, things that have got to be broken down, things that have got to come crashing down. So it takes that time. But we go back to the fact that the universe is showing us it's all but an experience. This is all fear. This is all too much mind. This isn't real. This is real. That you will live again, that you'll experience again, that you'll love again, that you'll be accepted again, but you know, this isn't a worthless card either, because this merry-go-round of thoughts really does, if you use it right, highlight the things that aren't right in your life, the things that your mind is screaming out to you, isn't resonating with you, isn't resonating with the journey that you want to be on. Use this card constructively. Instead of sitting there quiet on this thought merry-go-round, transmute that through your body, and that's very easily done by thinking the thought, letting it come through you, crossing your heart chakra and writing it down. Whether it's just a name, whether it's just an emotion, suddenly you'll find you've got a padded out story. Just like I use the tarot cards with my energy work, it's a padded out story. It's something you can see and feel and touch and read and make sense of, and it lets your body, it breaks it down. It digests the problem, it digests the thought, and it gives you a chance to really look at it from the outside view, because it's written down in paper. It's not just going on up here. That's transmutation. You've transmuted that. And then get to a point where you can burn it. Get to a point where you can go through each thought, each thought, and think about it, extract what is necessary from it, and burn it. And it's gone. That's transmuting it. So that is a big day for the 12th of May 2020. Be the explorer, be the experiencer, be the one that has no regrets. So much love. If you would like a balanced if you'd like a balanced reading from me, you can get in touch with any of the details above or below this video. And now be balanced and be whole as always. I'm not going to delete this because I keep deleting too much. It's taking too much time. Love you all.